Welcome to Vancouver Carpenter. So what do you do when you've got a situation where the corner bead has been ripped off and then it butts right up to something like a trim? Because if we try and put the corner bead onto this, then we're going to have to bury this edge of this trim in order to flare the corner bead out to here. And that's going to look really stupid. So what we have to do in this case is actually shave some of this mud away right here. So I've got a paint scraper, and you just start scraping. So we'll go a little bit up the wall too. Maybe to right about here. I'm going to say right there. So I'm happy with that. Now I know that the corner bead is going to be able to sit flat here, and we have a little bit more space to add some mud. Corner bead flange is going to go right about to there. This one's got it even more. It's got almost a 1/4 inch here. These were bullnose beads that got ripped off. And they need a lot of fill sometimes, depending on how they're installed. So this is like a dusty, messy situation, as you can see, which is why I'm not actually going all the way up the wall. So the downside to this is that it's actually going to make the corner bead flare in the tiniest bit, but over 9 feet, 1/8 is not going to be super noticeable as long as we do it from about halfway up the wall. And now we need to pre-fill all this stuff and get it so that it's actually something that we can even install a corner bead on. You can see I did about half of it yesterday and then stopped because I realized that we needed to do something down there. So I'm just using concrete fill. This is a local product to Western Canada. So if you're in the States or other parts of Canada, you might not be able to find it. It's similar to Structolite. You guys have that down in the States. It just has a little bit of aggregate and fiberglass in it, which is great for large builds. But essentially, it's just a hot mud, just a quick set. Sets in about 45 minutes to an hour. And I don't need too much, so I'm just doing a quick little hand mix here. I had a couple inches of water in the bucket. The only reason I'm not using my mixing paddle is I've already cleaned my water and I don't want to get all the aggregate in my mud. My regular mud. Alright, I'm happy with that. That's nice enough. I'm going to go to this side. So I don't actually want to fill in completely all the mud I just took off, but I do need to fill in this other side of this thing. Oh, I forgot something too. That is to cut the carpet off that's in the way. This carpet's getting replaced, so obviously we can do that. And I'm just gonna leave some of that overhanging stuff. We'll take it off of this side and let it overhang on that side and shave it off in a bit. But that's looking okay. Right, and this one's actually okay. I've already done most of the filling. That's good enough to put a corner bead on. So now all we have to do is wait for this stuff to set. I'll need to cut out that carpet. All right, well this mud's set up, but some of this paper actually is in super rough shape, probably from the demo of the corner bead. So I've actually been cutting it off here. So we're gonna have to remedy that a little bit because I know that that's gonna be a big blister under the flange. And I'll show you guys what my solution's gonna be for there. It might look a little hokey, but I have faith that it'll hold up when it's all nice and dry. What we're actually gonna do is just put some mesh tape along here before installing the bead, and then once we get some taping mud on top of here and a couple coats over top, we're gonna have like a 1/4 inch thick of solid mud over top of that, so that's probably not gonna crack at all. But yeah, see what I mean? We can't tape over top of that, not a chance. We gotta cut that out. That would be a big silly blister. How about, yeah, there's a bit more. And it didn't do that on all the other ones. So this one must have just been a bit more of a pain on the install. Anyways, that's looking a bit better. And we'll get this shaved down a little more. Shave that down so that we can start installing this corner bead. If we had to actually get a corner bead in there and leave the carpet intact and protected, obviously we'd have to have tape all around this carpet. But what we would have to do is actually probably modify the corner bead. So cut the paper flange off around this thing so that it could slip in there and you wouldn't have a flapping piece of paper. But in this case, because the carpet's going to get replaced, we can afford to lose a little bit of this, which is good news. There we go. Now that's out of the way, we can work in there. And I'm going to clean this up because it just looks nasty. All right, first, yeah, we got to get this mesh tape on here. So it's not even going to go on unless we put a bit of mud because it's a little bit too wet and dusty. But once we put that bit of mud on there and eventually find the end of the roll of tape, there it is, at the last spot that I checked. But yeah, here we go. So a little bit of mesh tape on here is going to help hold all that material in. Just embed it really quick. So yeah, there's times and places for mesh tape. This is one of them. You know, when you just need a little bit of reinforcement. Okay, now we can actually get that corner bead on. So this is all set. Oh, but this one isn't. Ah, never ends. Okay, now we're good to go. I'm just gonna do one at a time though, because I think this first one's gonna be a bit tricky and I don't want to be having the mud kind of drying out underneath the second corner bead while I'm partnering out the first one. Whereas a lot of the time, actually, I would do both of these corner beads at the same time. Not enough there. There we go. Okay. Get this bench somewhere that's actually work on it and still work on the bottom. Let's get the mud on down here. These are always kind of funny little spots. You never know how much of it's going to be covered by maybe a piece of trim or carpet. So you just have to do your best on all of it and assume that maybe none of it's covered. You make it look good enough for that, and you've done your job. More mud. I feel like I'm only just getting my knife chops back. I haven't been working all that much as a drywaller. It might be just the odd patch here or there. I haven't been doing like full jobs. And it can take me a good few weeks to really get my skills back. Where is that corner bead? But yeah, there's a difference between when I'm working full time on this, you know, 5 days a week. I can hear all the drywallers, 5 days a week is for sissies. I work 7 days a week. Yeah, I know. I did that once upon a time too. It's a waste of life. Life is short. And don't tell me you make enough doing drywall that it's worth working that much. All right. Almost wonder if we should get the 6-foot level out for this one to make sure that we don't put any little bows or anything in it. So we got the 6-foot here, and I'm actually not using this to check it for level so much as just making sure that the corner bead is straight. And it is diving out or diving in a bit at the bottom, so I need to like kind of pull it. And that's why it's nice when you have so much mud on here. Because you actually have the material to pull it out. If you're applying it with like fancy tools or through a hopper, it might not have enough mud on it to be able to pull them out and tweak it. Whereas this way, it's actually fully loaded and you can do that. So let's check it out this way too. Now it's out too much at the bottom or the top. Let's see. So it looks like it could go in a bit at the top. Not too much, probably just mostly needs to come in a bit at the bottom, which is going to be tricky. You know what? We're talking a 1/16 over 6 feet, so let's pull that out right there. That's better. I'm going to wipe the mud out and we'll double check it real quick, because right now I'm just getting the excess of the mud out so that I can work with it a bit. Yeah, pull that excess out, and then we're going to check it one more time, because before I like firmly press the tape down, I still have wiggle room to be able to tweak it here and there. But once you actually like really squash that mud out and there's not much under there at all, then the bead kind of is where it is. And if you start tweaking it and messing with it, you're risking getting blisters. Okay, let's check it one more time. Make sure it looks okay. I also checked this wall for level before I even started this, and it's pretty darn good. So that's why if the bead looks reasonably straight, I'm actually not worried about what level shows. So yes, I've got about a 32nd of daylight, like less than a millimeter right here. I can live with that, that's really good. How about up here? About the same thing. So I think what's going on is that it just flares out a little bit somewhere here. Let's see if I can pick that up by eye. Not at all. So that's good that way. Check it this way. Okay, and it's definitely doing something there. It needs to be pulled out at the bottom again. Got pushed in. Or maybe it needs to get pushed in a bit right here. See, it's a lot of work getting these just right. You know, nobody said it was easy. That's why there's so much bad drywall work out there, because people don't take the time to do that. Okay, and the bottom needs to come out a bit. And like I said, because I've still left some mud under there, we actually have the liberty to do that a bit. You can see, if you look right down at the bottom, you can see I've pulled it out a fair bit. Now let's see. That's a lot better. All right. Now we've got a very small amount, and now is where we have to use our discretion. So, am I going to be able to see that? No. You can never get a solid eyeball on it right here. So it's now good enough. I'm going to push right up against the flange to make sure that there's no blisters in there. It's going to need a pretty solid fill though, we can see that. But that's just what that one took. And I'm now firmly embedding that in. And this trim is getting painted later. So I'll sand the mud off there and it'll all be awesome. Just relax guys, it's going to be okay. Gonna be okay. It can take a fair bit of time to really get your corner beads exactly where you want them. And now I'm actually pushing all that stuff out. And it's looking good. So, now I can do the next one. But you guys don't need to see that, do you? I don't know, maybe you want to see it. Alright, let's do it. This one should be pretty quick. Our main criteria is just to make sure that it lines up relatively well with that one there. There's not anywhere near as much stuff going on this one. Oh, I'm rushing and I'm getting sloppy. Getting hungry. Like I said, drywallers, always tired and hungry. We're always trying to get that next coat on or get to that next stage or get to that next job. It's just sort of the nature of the beast with this job. You learn to be stressed out while doing it instead of calm and relaxed, like the word looks like it should be. I mean, you know, I'm just spreading mud. It's no biggie. It should just be kind of fun and relaxing. Yet I'm always scrambling. Okay, this, I already know I want a lot of mud down here because it has to match this one right here. So I'm like really laying it on. And actually there's even gonna be one more little trick that I show you guys at the end of this video because I'm installing this with taping mud. And this bead could definitely move around on me. Especially where I've got it pulled out like a 1/4 inch. Oh, that plug, huh? I can hear it crackling. Yeah, hit it with my metal knife, that's smart. There we go. Fixed it, I'm a Sparky. Okay, so what I do though, the trick is when I've like pulled a corner bead out a 1/4 inch and I'm just using taping mud, yeah, usually I like to install it with quickset when I'm like really manipulating the beads a lot and like playing with them a lot, because then it stays where you put it. Whereas when you install it with taping mud and you pull them out like a 1/4 inch, sometimes what happens is they don't stay where you put them and it can be super frustrating. So I got a little trick for that that'll be coming up after this is installed. So I'm just eyeballing it here, down at the bottom, to make sure that it looks the same as this one relatively. Standing up here like this, looking at it, making sure those two noses line up. Because if I just installed this one like willy-nilly, we'd have this one pulled out a 1/4 inch and this one, you know, squished in, and then you have a stupid, dumb, out of square corner. We've all seen those. They suck. But like I said, tweaking the beads like that can lead to some problems if you're not careful, because the mud will shrink and it'll pull it, and it's not going to wind up where you put it. Now this one I'm not as concerned about exactly where it is or how straight it is, because I'm just kind of eyeballing it with this one that I've already installed. And if they look close enough, then by the time they get coated and filled in, it'll just look kind of monolithic, as in one piece, and it'll be good. I guess it is a good thing we kept going, huh? There's always more you can learn. You know, because I don't think about these video ideas all the time, about all these little nuances. The only way I can teach you guys is if I'm actually just like doing it, spur of the moment. So, how does that look? That looks good. It's good. Stand back, take a look. Just needs a good stomp. Alright, looks good there. Looks good there, but why trust my eye? Why not check a little bit? Yeah, we're good there. We're good. I got about a mil of daylight. A little bit more than a mil there. So if I really, really wanted to get fussy, what I could do is pull this a bit. Right here, pulling it that way. Yeah, and obviously I really do want to get fussy because I'm doing it.
Also, the homeowner is watching you.
Oh yeah, the homeowner's filming me. There is that element of it. Alright, that's good. That's good. And yeah, you know, when the homeowner's actually filming you, he's gonna know where everything is. Whereas if I just installed it with that millimeter of daylight, he'd never know it's there, and it wouldn't be a problem because your eye can't pick up a millimeter over 6 feet unless you're like a super demonetized. That's okay. If you've been watching this far in the video, you're probably a regular viewer, and you'll forgive me for my language.
That's okay, you can always keep it up.
Yeah, it's gonna be bleeped out because there's kids watching, I guarantee it. I know there's guys out there that watch it with their kids, so out of respect for you guys, it's been bleeped. Alright. There we go. That's that. I just need some corner tapes and it'll look all pretty. Oh, I told you guys I was going to show you that thing. Okay. All right, so what you've been waiting for, the secret. So when you've got something like this and you don't want it to twist and move around on you, I've mixed up some Quickset. Just slap that in there. Because most of the movement is going to happen as this like really shrinks overnight. And this Quickset is going to be set up in about an hour, and it's not going to let the bead move because it's going to just kind of lock it in place. So that is the way to cheat those and get a big tweak of the old bead to stay put. I'm just going to leave that like that. And why not do the other side a little bit too? Just put a little bit right here and to hold it. And where else? Maybe just clean up this spot with a little bit of confill, get it looking nice and pretty. Pre-coat. Sometimes these tricky spots like this, you know, you give them that first fill of Quickset and then another couple of fills. And not on the whole bead, but just on these like kind of problem spots. Especially, remember, we've actually got that, that mesh tape under here. So putting this Quickset here is going to be just one more little bit of reinforcement. And then that will get 2 more coats of mud over top of it to make it beautiful. But that's really going to hold that bead in place where we did so much pulling out and where there's all that potential for movement. Anyways, that is how you install corner beads in a super weird spot like that. It's a lot of work, but somebody's got to do it. And you know, while I still got this stuff in here, I may as well finish off this spot too. So, just want to say, thanks for watching Vancouver Carpenter. Hope you guys learned something in this video. You know, there's as many different ways to do something as there are situations you come across. Everything is unique. It's not always going to be the same fix every time. But the more of these little tricks you have in your toolbox, the better off your projects are going to start to become. So hopefully this was useful to you. Definitely hope you guys learned something. Thanks for watching Vancouver Carpenter. Till the next video, you guys. I don't know why you're still watching.